on the roadways. So I say this to say we must not be ungrateful for all the work and the effort that our president and his cabinet is doing for us as farmers. And your original chair is from the Pomeroon. But guess what? I'm a strong woman. You know why? Because we were neglected all the years under the previous administration. And I had to grow strength by strength on my own without any government support. And it taught me a lesson. So let us not be ungrateful to our government that is so sympathetic. And sometimes, VP, I say, our government is too sympathetic because we take advantage of the sympathetic air that our government has, and we take that for granted, that everything they must fix. But as VP said, let us do this together. This is a crisis time. The entire world is in a crisis. And if we fight among ourselves and we don't come up with solutions to the problem, we will definitely be in a plight. And I want to say once again, Vice President, we're very grateful on behalf of the majority of the region for all the work that your government has been doing, our government has been doing for our people. We are very grateful. So I will not want to take up much time because BP is very busy and we have another meeting will be coming up shortly. So I will take this opportunity to ask you, let us do it in order. You have any suggestion, contribution in an orderly manner, and if somebody said what you were going to say, don't repeat, let us give another person a chance. So I now ask the first speaker to take the floor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, VP. Yeah, I'm here. Oh, sorry. Yeah. We sold approximately 1,300 bags of paddy to Mr. Wazi Hussein in the first crop of 2020. Time just like now in March. There is no contact with him via telephone, even going to his home. How are we to know? Myself and other farmers, I'm quite sure there are farmers right in here who can sanction what I'm saying. How are we to know if this miller has been paid and he's not answering to us?
So, if he owes you and you have been paid, this is a long time, right?
Yeah.
So, can you take him to court for the payment? This is why you recall what we had done in the act. We had put in one of the schedules that we said when farmers sell paddy, they should get a contract of that nature. And I believe, Ramraj, that it had a punitive interest rate. So if it exceeded a particular period, then the burden shifts to the person who has purchased your paddy and not paid you. Because alternatively, then the person can keep your money forever and not pay you. So if there was that kind of contract in place, then the millers or the purchasers of paddy will be forced to pay you as first priority rather than utilize the money elsewhere. Are people following that? We discussed this many times. I sat at the RPA one. I traveled across the coast. I talked to the comrades that please do this. They said to me, if we do it, the miller won't buy you paddy. Right? If we insist that you're going to sign this contract, they don't want to buy the paddy. Well then, you have to tell us that your millers don't want to sign the contract. So then, and provide the legal services. Then those millers may not get licenses to export. We got a tough on them. That if they don't want to provide a contractual basis for the purchase of the paddy, then you can't just pick this on a cowboy show. You a man would deposit his paddy by you, and then you tell him I'm paying you next month. And that's all he has. He has no paper to prove it. Now, if you do have the documents and you follow that, the next course of action is a legal action, which we are prepared to support. We are prepared, if you disappears on you for now 2 years, they will pay you. Then you have to go to the court and get a judgment against him.
Well, I did that VP. I went to the time, I can't remember the name in his life. And he paid me after 2019, final crop. And told me that within the next 3 weeks, he will pay me for 2024 scrap. So we were back to when I went on.
Well, from 2020 to now, Governor, this is 2022. You all got the summons since then, you got to go back again. If you threaten with the summon and it worked before, threaten again with the summon and let it work again. You got to push for your rights. It's unfair. It's unfair that someone would take your paddy and 2 years later you can't get paid. And then they're continuing business, they're doing well, and you're not getting your money. So you have to pursue a legal remedy, and when they know that there is not recourse, then people would start, and they get judgments against them, then they would start paying the farmers.
But as you rightly said just now, for the past 2 crops, he has been purchasing paddy cash. And he can't pay the farmers for 2020.
Well, that is precisely what I'm saying. So you got to fight for your own rights. We can only support. I explained to you all, I came on this post. It's not like we're new at this. And I explained to you we are limited because it's a private contract, not a contract between the government as a party. So we can't take legal action. It's new because the contract is between the 2 parties, the buyer and the seller. We can help to support with legal services. We can help to support. So this is the only way, because we're never going to end this unless we have penalties. And the court must be the ultimate recourse or give remedy or justice to people. Can't take a person's money for 2 years and not pay. And you still conduct business.
Okay, thank you.
Next person.
Yes, this come around.
Good evening, everyone. Sir, we have a lot of problems that we want you to dream up in this crisis. The minister came last week and we were able to explain to him in many different ways that we are being cheated in this rice industry. And I put under the head that they are cuts that we have to bail. I don't know if we reported to you or whoever of the different problems we have. And the problem is
Let's take that quickly.
yeah, one the cats,
yeah.
One the cats. The first one, we have to pay a very high rate in terms of dockage. Dockage is the straw and the little things that you find inside. Now you would sit down in the mill and the child would clean, you pay a amount of step bars per trailer. And you sit down there for the whole day, some of the mills buy 70 bags, 70 loads. And at the end of the day, the cleaning is a little trailer drive to it. Am I wrong, farmers? No. Yes. Now, straw like 7 bags of straw and 7 bags of polish differently. Because of different weight. We ask, people it's legal according to whatever, we ask GRE to locate the sort of thing. Nobody built like that. It is lawful that whenever the farm, the bill is forced beyond 42 days, that it was getting highest interest rate around money, GRE knows about it. It's legal. We never get paid. Ask any military, any farmer.
No, but first of all, let's go through one at a time. So, the dockage.
Yes.
Obviously, the millers would have a different view. GRDB needs to sit almost immediately with the millers and the farmers rep, okay, across. And the RPA is it? and then solve this issue. It's one way or another, whatever is fair. So you don't want to rip off the millers, but they must not rip off the farmers. Must be a fair system. We can easily solve this if everybody's around the table. What is preventing that from?
In addition to what is said, we ask for a farmer, a representative of the farmer to be at every single mill. They have to choose a farmer if they so desire and not satisfied with both TRDB and the mill to be at any mill and TRDB to be.
Sir, that can't work. Let me explain to you why it can't work. Ask the farmer. You have $1 million business. I'm going to turn a chapel get it and let's say $100,000 a month. And you're still only the man mill. And the man knows you make extra money. You just multiply.
So, but you're saying that you can't find a single person who's not corrupted in the whole Essequibo Coast?
If you're not corrupt, you will be trouble.
But then how do you, alright, so assuming I find the person now, you can't find the person, I find. It's not the same money you can take from the miller?
I have the answer with you just now.
Alright, no, but to listen. I would like to see the GRDB lead a process where you have to settle this issue. But really you should come on the Essequibo Coast yourself with your technical people, get the RPA there, the farmers, and the millers, and let us work through this. It's not insurmountable to work through, and the only remit that you have, the principle, it must be fair. One minute, we'll come on that issue. You want on the same issue. All right, let's hear from the miller. Yeah. You want to give him the
issue about moisture, blockage, and weight. We have been looking into that. Just this morning, I had a meeting with our quality control staff. We have our quality control manager here, Ms. Marcia Wimper, and we have our extension officers who we will get more intimately involved at the mill. But when we talk with the millers, and I visited a buying center just a couple hours ago, we look at the data. You have moisture over 20%, 22, 23%. You have blockage significantly over the norm. You have chalky grains significantly over something like, we saw something like 16% when the level is 6% to get C grade and above.
So
I have some pictures from the buying center. You can see the volume of straw coming in.
This brings me to the question, is that what has the government been doing? If that is what you're finding now, why did we find this a year ago, 18 months ago, since we got back into office? Why do we have to find it now? And if we found that, it's our job to protect all the parties. We want the interest of the industry. But if we find that people are being duped and you're expressing outrage about the numbers, why didn't we go fix it? We're not powerless. GRDB has some mandate as well as RP. So we can't be complaining like everyone else. We gotta fix it. And that's what you've identified the problem now. That might be discrepancies. So that's what I'm saying. Let the staff stay on or next week and let's fix this. The millers have already expressed a view that this miller here said they can come anytime and absorb. So it's easy to do that. Do it jointly with everyone. Okay? Yes.
The condition of the chalk, the reason for the chalk is that farmers are cutting green paddy. Farmers are cutting paddy to raise the
All right. But if you're saying that the farmers are cutting the green paddy and that's why it's shocking, some farmers. But that could be observed here. That could be observed, and the farmers have to be told that if you cut green paddy, you're going to get a higher share. But I would like to see a man who didn't cut green paddy, whether he's getting the same amount of chalkiness. So we need, listen, I can't solve the problem here. It has to be solved by visits and the parties observing it. You can't solve it at a meeting where we're talking. You got to go on the ground and assess it, analyze it. How we can talk and solve the problem. I just put in place an arrangement to go and do that work. So let's move on to the next item now. Next week, I'll get a full report. And the farmers here have to be involved, the millers, the RPA, GRD, everyone, the Ministry of Agriculture. So then I can get a report on it.
Yes, sir.
So that's one. Two, you were mentioning
Yes. I was mentioning about the monies owed to farmers.
Okay. Now you said also, do you have anybody here who's owed, who has this contract, the private contract that I talk about?
I'm not talking about sort that.
Yeah, but all right.
I'm talking about the interest case. Everybody got a contract, and the states clearly on it that they agree to pay.
All right. You bring me about 5 contracts.
Everybody will do that. They want
Right, 5 contracts. Bring me 5 contracts where the people have agreed to pay you by a certain date when there's a penalty after a certain date by the interest rate going up, and they are now paying you and they don't want to pay the penal interest rate. You bring me that, you bring me, let's go there. Bring me 5 contracts and we will take steps to put in place a system to address that. That anytime there is such an arrangement that we can be part of the enforcement of these contracts once the contracts are signed.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So number 3.
Number 3, we have command party. In all of this, all farmers go in. We have 140.
We have command.
I'm talking 140 from we should take on command party. 3 pounds to people in Chupa. We get Chupa. So the 3 pounds still left with it. You know what is our average party weight in Essequibo versus Borbis? 160 something pounds. I beat out when they had farm group. We took money. The same money as the money we did. And we had high returns that they didn't want to get GRD loan returns on the money. I'm saying, sorry. We need to sit on a support that GRD, take a man iron money, mill it back, and let us get it 2,000.
Okay, well, all of these. So not just the first point, but GRD will do all of these issues.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So the next time I come here, or the Minister of Agriculture is coming tomorrow, so he has to follow up on this to me. I will get from you a report about the joint meetings that we've had and what the results are. Yeah. And then we have to live with the results. Once you have a say right there, you'll observe that this is it. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sir, the problem we have is that when your officials come to do bargaining, they don't come to the farmers first. They go to the millers first. And the millers, you know, when you go English, they have something called pointing the well. There's a figure of speech. Whatever you hear first, they may come to complain to that somebody back speak. When the first come to complain, believe before they speak for words. So they can't believe the farmers when we try to get them something. They come up with conceived things to tell us. The minister can't give this part. But there are a lot of things that the minister don't understand and we face up with this industry.
All right. The idea, you know, that there could be no preconceived view in this government because our entire approach is to help the farmers and the industry. If we don't have, I don't have any image of the millers or the big grower purchasing. They're an important part of the industry, but farmers must be treated fairly. These are the people who produce the paddy and take it here. They must be produced. And the government has to work overnight to see that their interest is protected. That is the philosophy of this government. That's a philosophy. So we don't have a problem with millers or anybody. We need people to buy the paddy, but people must be treated fairly.
Yes, sir. We talk about economics. And our farmers, we have an economy. And the economy is based on rice. And as we said earlier, that if you're doing an investment and you cannot get the kind of return, but it makes no sense. I want to take 1 minute to give you some figures.
Well, come on, I have a long list that the farmers sent to me. Let me show you about the cost of production. The cost of production. As I said before, you don't need to tell me that the price of fertilizer went to 12,000 or something like that.
That's sort.
Right, so-
I'm trying to tell you in general terms that the returns of any farmer who, and the average farmer is proposed to cultivate, for example, this farmer cultivate a majority, not more than 5 acres, the old. So they cannot get more than a certain amount, and that's like this.
How many farmers do we have on Essequibo? No, when you are saying GRDP, you're the one supplying all the numbers.
I can't give you all the
Alright, okay. Well,
if it's a
listen, let's get someone else. You give me three of what they call, what they say, the bell, the cats. 3 cats, the bell, let's move on. Yes, yes, come right. Yes, let me get some more cats to bell there. And real cats. Yeah.
Mr. VP, I must thank you for coming here. And your coming here is very much important. I speak on behalf of rice farmers. Why you just said, let me hit the hammer up and right here, let me deal with the problem, find a solution. If we create competition, we're going to solve some of these problems. We had a dam problem, the farmer committee, the dam gave it to some of the farmers out there, that's all. And I ask that if we can continue this for 2 crops per year. We have this dam in total A1 condition. Not all. So, now, what the guy was saying with moisture and ducting, we can solve this solution if we ask these millers to come in. Brings to my mind, when Tamil Jagwan takes up in the milling, it creates a lot of difference by prompt payment again. Since he got me prompt payment, and he come in, some of these millers have to come down at 155 pounds per bag. If they can do it, it would help us. They're millers here. If they can stand up and say, okay, we got purchase this truck 155 pounds per bag, and that would help us back because we're not getting the price. I know for sure Mr. Tamil Jagwan was willing to pay 4 or 5, but I believe his hand is tight. I don't know what I know for sure he created a huge difference.
My thing is that I agree with you, but I just said you should be part of it. Let this team work, the team from Guyanese, to see that with all of everyone involved, the farmers must be there too. We want the millers at the table because you can't solve the issue without everyone being at the table. The RRP, all the rest, and let us work through every one of those issues to see what the real concern is. So if it is, I don't know whether it would end at 165 or 155. That has to be dealt with at the table and based on the fact, the truth.
No, this can stop right now. They can say, okay, we are going to start purchase at 155 pounds right to the crop.
Yeah.
We can solve.
Yeah.
We are grown up people, we're not children.
Yeah.
Well, and now, the next one. Is it possible through the government, can we get subsidies?
Okay.
I mean, these are
like what area you're
like you take off levy from them, a little reflect back to us. So you take off at 2%, like a $500 come back to us per bag.
Well, we reduced that already.
Is it that reflect to us?
Well, that change was made almost a year ago, right? And 4 months ago. 4 months ago that change was made.
No, sir.
So did we see, when the change was made, did we see any uptick in prices here? Oh. 34 to 37. Okay.
No, sir. Just take a look at the front page. And it's because some of us end up in that situation because of climate change. Losing crop upon crop.
So this is what? Tell me about it.
That is, the bank took the guy to court and get judgment. Took him right to the front page judgment. Read it anyway.
Oh, this is for somebody who was taken by the bank
to court. Right.
No, but I'm asking you a simple question. So somebody owes it. right?
The miller is here.
The miller owes you. Do you have a contract that person?
I'll show you tomorrow.
Right, so tomorrow bring it and we'll...
We photocopy all his contracts and let the JRD have the
right. Bring the guy too, right? Bring him.
No, the JRD have those contracts that we
No, bring a copy for me. I want to see both copies.
I'll show you. Let me deal with this subsidy. This go ahead.
Let us see, because we did reduce that already 4 months ago, the levy. Right? I thought it was a little bit longer, Ramraj is saying. But let me write that down as one of the other things, because we're exploring ideas here.
Yeah.
That is what we're talking about. So I can still write it. I'm not going to discount it. That's it.
And sir, I would like to acknowledge this. And I would like to be a part of this voluntary. Yesterday we had a meeting at the boardroom. And when this lady listed out what she had to do for the day, it's too much of workload for that woman. It's the RE. Oh, that short lady carries out a big work. And I must compliment her and congratulate her for her commitment, her braveness, and her dedication.
Oh, well, that's why we disappointed. And don't take away workload. We need to increase our workload.
I'm willing to work with her.
All right.
I know the wrong level. I know the wrong level.
Okay.
I can work with
But
her.
this is the kind of spirit we need from everybody across the region, working to solve the problems. You have a sympathetic ear in the government. If you have a problem, then just pop it, come on. 10 of you can come and see me in Georgetown.
Yes, sir.
Ask through the party structures to see me.
I went till to the door and get turned back.
Which door?
Your office door. Downstairs.
Downstairs, that's not my door, man. No, you know, I know the office of the president, they had a lot of protocol. You're vaccinated?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But now all of that has been removed. Office of the president is a little not friendly. You know, because they have all this...
They got to be more friendly.
No. I work there, but at Freedom House too, or through the party structures, you can ask to see me. So I tell people, because people show up at the gate all day long, and sometimes I don't know, I'm not there, so they'll say I'm not here or so.
I have a personal thing to talk to you about. I'll meet you tomorrow. And listen, one more. Since I came in here, and you let me get the PCR and lady of you. You can get it home too.
Alright. I hope that's not your motivation to work with you. I hope that's not your motivation. Yeah. In this party, we provide voluntary housing, not forced housing. Voluntary, right? Okay. Yes, you got this one. Oh, the corner. Can you please move? Let's hear a bit.
Sir, I have a major problem. I have a piece of land at Benjamin, and a lady cultivates land accounts on the reserve. There is no access to my rice land. I went to the office where Sharon works, and I told them. They went and they told the lady to stop bill many a time, but she still continues to bill. Sir, she built a house, she has her own shed, she planted a piece of garden, and there is no access to combine tractor or anything. And I was telling him...
That's an NBC issue? Oh.
I was telling him just now, early before the meeting started, and he said I have to get a surveyor to survey the land. I said I have a transport for the land. He said you still have to get a plan, you have to get the surveyor. Sir, I could barely afford to buy rice.
Oh no, don't worry. Listen, on the face of it, is it an encroachment? Let us help to get a surveyor so we can treat people fairly. Her, and if we get a surveyor, we'll make sure that they get a surveyor. We will help to get a survey done. Once they establish your power and stuff like that, then they can take action.
Because the other day, a lady next to my land, she takes a surveyor to survey her place, and this woman, she beat the surveyor, pushed him.
All right, don't worry, that will not happen. Right, wait your police. All right, okay, so we should look. Okay. So just make a note of it, and we'll work. Okay.
I have a link plan. On the document has 5.98 on the time.
Did some of you raise this when the president was here?
No.
You didn't get the chance because I have a report from Lands and Survey. Where's my bag? And they said when he came here, a number of people raised things and they've been able to solve quite a few, but some are still outstanding.
Yes, as I was saying, I went into London today and I always pay for that amount of land 5.98, but when you measure it, actual land, it's 5 acres. So London survey told me that I have to get a surveyor to survey the land. Why do I have to get a surveyor when they at least that amount of land to me?
All right, let us solve it. So we'll get it done. Give them your name there, and we'll try to assist with this. Make sure, Sada, make sure that we're getting the name right and the issue, so we can follow up. Yeah.
When I took care of one announcement today, $1 billion spent region 2 to do streets, and from the Market Road, I'm speaking to a farmer. I'm inquiring about Farm to Market Road in the right field, going up from the road to the right field. Is there any new spending to do a new road in Region 2 going down from the public road to the right field for this year?
From the public road to the right field? No. Listen, the farm to market roads, we're going to go with the model that's already announced, which is to get the farmers involved and grading and shaping the road. The community roads, everybody wants paved roads. They want asphaltic concrete roads. If you don't, you say, I'm doing it at the farmland, you still got to do the front road. So progressively, this is what's going to happen. All the community roads are going to be paved whilst we maintain the farm to market roads.
Sir, the farm to market roads, consists of grandfather days, to the father days, to we days. All in the money we live not. Until today, the farmer was just mentioned that yesterday, the problem was solved, the problem was intended to be solved. That's all it.
Yeah, but it's 500 kilometers of roads, farm to market roads. You know what the cost of building one of those? Where do you think the money is coming from to government? Let's talk frankly speaking. Where do you think the money is coming from? We just gave up back $40 billion in taxes. We took off all the taxes of pesticide, fertilizer, fuel. We took it off from the machinery and equipment. Somewhere you got to get money to build schools too. In this region, we're going to build a $30 million US hospital. Where do you think the money coming from? We got to do a number of things, the water treatment plants. You're only looking at farm to market roads. Right now, the guy was saying, the regional engineer, we want to put pressure on. And I said, where are we going to finance it from? This is not up. I'm not coming here to promise nothing we can't deliver on. The things I promise here, we deliver on. The PUP, that's how we are. So that is what we're working on. So forever, so you're not going to get paved roads to the background. You tell me how much it will cost to do over 500 kilometers of crusher run roads.
Sorry, we're not asking.
And the whole budget will be, we have to go for that.
We're not asking to do all. We do one at a time as the country can afford.
Yes, but one, if you do one at a time, then which one you start with? Yeah, which one you start with? Because if you got 100 roads going into the backland, and the first time that we got this in number is 78, 52 and 74. We started the one, the farmer said, why you all starting over there? You got to come here. It became a big political problem. Because we started one, we said you got to hold on. They said, no, we voted for you too, so you can't start over there. You have to start over here. So everybody won the first. So who will pick the first one? The thing is that we have to do what is within our means. No use we promise. The means would be to keep the roads passable with the help of the farmers, to give them more money so they can help to maintain the roads until progressively over time. Now, if we get it by 2027, we might be getting much more oil money. We're getting a few $100 million a year. Then you can start doing the things that you need to. So you understand everything costs money. And when you run a hole, like a country, you have to choose priorities too.
I was inquiring, you didn't do it anyway.
Oh, no, but I agree with you, comrade, that since time immemorial, we want to do these things, the crusher run. Let me tell you even what I went for. I was not even minister. We went to a meeting, PPP just got into office 92, held by the OAS in St. Vincent. And there is a fund here that I made a proposal for to see if we can find a way to stabilize clay. That some additive that when added to the soil, we can stabilize clay. Since then, we asked ISP to do that. If we have to bring crusher rod from far, it's very expensive. But if we can develop something that would stabilize and solidify the clay, where we don't, create the same problems we have with it, we'll be able to do much more. We're looking for that material. We're experimenting with some material now. What can we add to the soil? Because when you think it's only here, this region, in Burmese, we have the same issue with farm to market road. In South Georgetown alone, guess how many kilometers of drains they have? The small drains that they want now concrete, over 25,000 kilometers of small drains that they want concrete now in the drains in Georgetown, on concrete drains. A lot of these things have to be mapped over time. And that's one thing with the PPP. We will do it, it will happen, but we're not gonna do things that are unsustainable. It harms the people ultimately.
So I think it is very big. The charity, the life of the user, properly, when you get to, is not functioning at the moment.
What is not functioning?
The charity, and they've been functioning, many of the dams are being in much better condition. They're not functioning, so.
They're not functioning.
No.
So what agriculture is? Ulaina, what is good? So, yeah.
Good afternoon. When you say they're not functioning, the issues with the dam, VP, they're spending...
No, the Water Users Association,
yeah.
right?
No, I'm not saying the users dam.
I know they spent $10 million from the rates they collected to fix the access dams this fall. The same water user.
Oh, who is the chairman of the Water Users Council? You're the chairman? Let's hear from you. What's going on? Give him the microphone. Give him the microphone a minute. Yeah, let's hear it. Hold the microphone close to your mouth, right? Like,
yeah. Imran Dam got 45,000 opportunities. He has that alone, not 45 loads of oil, which is budgeted for. He need another 20 loads in order to put that to put a his dam. Because you can't get it, if you don't function with them, what is the job of it? Right? He already to his dam. Get to I have the document here.
So your dam got 35 loads? Yeah, but come on, I thought they didn't do anything. You said they're not functioning. You just said they're not functioning. If they're not functioning, how do you put 35 loads on a dam? The difference between not functioning and not getting what you want, right? So I know you're lobbying more for your area. I mean, that's normal. People would lobby more for their area. It's normal. Everybody does it. I would like to see my dam done before anybody else. But you can't say it's not functioning if they're doing some work. Maybe they're not doing as much as they should, but then they also have, you have to check. Don't they, these Potter Users Association, they have membership. Don't they check how much money they collect every year? You have a report to the membership and then what you spend the money on? Also, you have an audit and you have an audit done too. Okay.
Yes, sir, I am it. I am alright, sir. What is our taking that the members want to buy at once for £5 with prevailing by the commission? That is not possible, sir. It's totally impossible. Then I must have to operate a bit about it. I'm not a miller. I'm a farmer and second miller. But you cannot operate that way.
But we're not solving that here, so let's move on. They will deal with that later.
Yeah, one more thing. I live in the Evergreen Paradise, NBC. I am from Ireland. The chairman for the NBC I was studying by Madam was studying last year November. Never ever forget. I called the NBC chairman to take a look at the work for the world and so forth. This year, February, studied again. Called back the NBC chairman and showed him the road trend is at front. Since I have been based on funding to accommodate the road trend, but they're not cleaning the road trend. They're not deciding the road trend. So we are continuing to follow it up.
This is a road contiguous to the public road.
Yeah.
But I think we should do some of this centrally. That not leave this on the NDC. They can't handle all those if it's on the public road. All the drain along the public road from one end to the next should be done by the government, central government. Not to leave the NDC. They don't have a revenue base to deal with that. The big canal. Yes, they're right. So if you've got the excavators, yes, no.
Maybe they got a family resort. And one family wanted to build the path and the other one to rent the path. So we don't know how we can start to do this business.
Oh, so it's a different problem that he got here, right? Oh, this is family problem over. They have the rough things to deal with, you know. And here now, both sides is both PPP, so you don't know which side to take, right? We don't get involved in that. Because often both sides, both PPP, so we get to see it.
But absolutely.
Okay.
Last time, the president called.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now. Nếu kết là đâu cần rồi, là mình xem cái dòng rồi, vô hết, mình có đi đi ai thì nó sẽ là nó đúng rồi, right? Mình ra cái cả mà mình ba muốn, rồi tụi bạn nó rồi, tao đi chút cả, tụi bạn để bạn.
It hasn't been demonstrated that these comrades were flooded out from that. And then, but the money that we set aside was flooding for the entire country. So what happened to the Essequibo? But 400 million was paid on Essequibo. So, you know the approach we've had. We had this problem elsewhere. Some of our comrades, it's hard to deal with 70,000 people who all claim the flood. You know, we got big problems because of this. Some of them, people who planted 10 acres went and paying for 20 acres. And they're fighting. So how would we check 70,000 people? We can't check that. So when people go on the ground, even the officers we send out, they get abused and all of that. So we should have had a peer review system. We should have had these community meetings. The next time we have to do this and bring everybody in the community and call out the names. Like the villagers then say, yes, he get flooded, he get flooded. That is what we got to do, because when we do it on our own, people then say, oh, I'm left out till this. But let's look at your case. We look at examining. We'll examine.
They work for five. Every day we man money. Every week we money.
All right, we look into it. If the president promised to help you, I'm sure he'd want them to help you. Make sure that he gets it. All right, okay then. Yeah. Yes.
Is based on unemployment of factory here in Essequibo.
What?
All employment and the student faculty here is so. The president came here last December and he promised us within 3 weeks the factory will resume with the factory production, full production. It is 3 months today. Nothing is out of this yet. Right
So,
now,
are people getting paid?
No, right now we're unemployed at home.
Alright, how many workers are there? How many staff?
There were 20 workers, there were about 6 of us now.
6, alright. And this is the...
Zero five.
Yes, I know the factory. I remember since I was there that we worked on that. And are we using this in the school system? Because I said to this guy when he was head of IS, if we could produce this and fortify this here, then we can do it in the school system. We get from banks CIH this kit. But we can buy this and then utilize it across the school, because if the kids eat it and it's tasty, it's this rice snack and they'll have all the vitamins in it. That is what I asked them to do. Are they fortifying them?
Yes.
Fortifying. Well, let me see. What would it take to, how much working capital do you need to get it started?
About 12.
$12 million that is to buy. So the machine is maintained and stuff?
Well, they will have us like go in and they will have us.
Who is the head of it?
It's the
You were the head of that? Yeah. So how much was the sale? What was the sale of this thing, like on an annual basis?
Okay, so we produce over 2,000 packets for production. We have 3 productions per week, and we were never closed, but due to the school COVID, we were asked to stay home. And of course,
because of the COVID.
Yes, our biggest supplier was the school feeding program, and because of that,
but how much do you earn by selling this? Like if you per month, like what's the monthly revenue of the place? Is it enough to cover? It's enough to cover the staff and the working capital and everything?
With the current supply of CIH, it's not enough to cover the staff. But with the school feeding program, we have 30 staff. Only security guards are presently on. Everyone else.
Yes, I know, but I'm asking a different question. Anyhow, it might be unfair to you. I'd have to get the numbers to see how much we were, like what's the potential revenue, and how widespread were they using this in the school system? Were they using it in Region 2 for the school?
All the school. We have 17 schools supplying.
You were supplying 17 schools?
Yes.
Which are the 17 schools? In this region?
I won't be able to say, but we can provide that information.
Alright, because that was the idea when we started to go on that route. It was to diversify the market for rice so that people can utilize rice for other things apart from just exporting.
In addition to that, we also have a bar line. We are bringing in to make bars for to sell.
Yeah, but still using rice as the base.
Yes.
Using rice as the base. So that's so what I will do, who you said you have a GM now? Let him come to see me on Monday. When is Monday? Today is what? I just lost track of time, yeah. This is like, we've been working around the clock. Next Monday. Come next Monday to see me and bring all the financials. Okay? Already. Okay?
Good afternoon.
Or it could be sent to me in my office before so that we can look at it. Or if you can get it by tomorrow, I can look at it. So if it's essential and we have the market, we can restart. But we should get the people employed, so 20 persons are up to the top. Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. So there is actually a lot of tested fertilizer that come into this country.
I'm told yes. I'm told yes.
Well, let me be honest with you, right? I'm planting right for the past couple years now. And the fertilizer that's coming into this country right now, I used to use a fertilizer that marked.
Urea, right?
No, well, let me listen. We used to use a fertilizer that marked half group of companies. And when we use that fertilizer, you have to use like about 3.25 parts per acre. And for the past 2 crops, we're using a fertilizer that marks 0.6. And that fertilizer ends up using less. So it becomes by fast limit. So
you supplying the fertilizer? Yeah. The man's thinking you're adulterating the fertilizer, right? Okay, all right. So give him the, let me hear about this, yeah. Yeah.
Our fertilizer is above the spec that is required by the government. I don't think we're talking with you.
All right, but here now, you gotta now buy the fertilizer from we're giving you better results. Those countries, we don't know what time you to buy from him, right? Whose fertilizer you using?
I purchased it from either Gallerite or Essequibo.
Okay.
And I get a better result because I end up using less fertilizer. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No. I heard what you told me. So, good luck. Well, that's good for you. And yes, but the testing is done. Here, what you have to do. You have to show all the fertilizer, the test results. You should publish it in the ministry, on the ministry website. But if on the ground, let me be honest with you, if on the ground you find you're getting better results with this fertilizer, this brand, you stick with that brand.
Yeah, well, that's why I took my brand and I encourage some other farmers.
Yes, but it's up to you, right? It's up to you.
Another question, bringing down the cost for rice in this region. There is a store in this region that cannot cure by none of one year what the farmer. We used to pay rent, rice still used to rent for $15,000 an acre. And some farmers jumped the rent from 15 to 25, 30, and $45,000 an acre. And when you carry the cost, them rate that, you can't come and end up cutting like 40, 43 bucks per acre, you cannot clear. So they have to try with that disease that they created. I mean, some of them go who gets loose. I did.
Yeah. We taking all the heat here, so I'm glad that you mentioned that. Put some of the heat back on. Right, yeah. Yeah.
Very glad
Oh, yeah.
I was congratulated at table, especially by the president. I haven't seen him for a long time as well.
I didn't want to expose you to COVID and bring you in this circle. Only last week we refused to remove the restriction. That's right.
Okay. I said I was congratulated to visit the Essequibo, for me, problem is to put bread for You just so said you know the cost of production. I don't want to tell you the cost of production. But what I can tell you is $600 to take it for the campaign. That's what I want to tell you. Campaign. So, you said you want suggestion. You said to take up all subsidies for fertilizer, and all taxes. Still that can't compensate. I don't know what price the mill is getting. We have Mr. Haki, he is a very competent miller. And I hope he can say something about his price. We got a general manager here, and he knows what price the mill is getting. So these type of meetings, I would like to see before the crop. So farmers can know what price they expect. And on the other hand, the government can say with what they can help. I know for other countries they get subsidy, not subsidy, incentive. I would like to see that this present government give the farmers some incentive on production. You got 10 bags, you want to get $100, you get $1,000. So pushing the car, you got $600 $600 a bag. Try to punch you back in the deal.
So but we know that slogan all the time. So if you can't, $3,600, I got the point. Can't pay you. So what are you saying? People are going to stop them or going to go to the crop?
Well, I don't know.
No, but you were telling me that. You were saying that if you can, you're losing money at $3,600. Then they can't go back. So they wouldn't go back.
I think an economic way, but on the other hand, rice is bringing in foreign exchange. We bring in maybe 200 million.
That's an old argument. You made the point about 200 years ago we've been here about the foreign exchange. We have to prevent the exchange rate from appreciating too much. The price now, it fell as much as 200 to 1. It was 250, 216, it got up to nearly 200. You know, if it gets to 200 to 1, you know which industry it kills? Agriculture and manufacturing. When the rates fall, so there's a wash with foreign currency now, the country. The demand, we have a supply greater than the demand. So that is not a big selling point. It's important for us because it employs so many of our people on the coast and there are no alternatives. That is why that's a stronger argument to me than the foreign currency argument. So we want to help. But let's see how we can help. So we will take into consideration some of the suggestions on production. We cannot we have to stage it. Because if you only give on production, and you may be able to help, you might be helping the bigger guys more than the smaller people. Two, and the bigger people than smaller people who are producing and have greater capacity. They have their own equipment. So they don't have to rent. It would help the longer period amortize the costs whilst we're going through this difficult period. Things are going to come back to the normalcy. The cost of living, as soon as you get the supply chain regular back again, you're going to have a lot of drop in prices. We're convinced about that. But this is a difficult period we got to go through. So when we look at it, there are ideas you have.
Well, I know that there will be problems. There will always be problems. We have to find a solution to the problem. We just can't get the farmer on the back area. Because a lot of farmers being on the back area, back area of the road. Because since the party down 4,000, nobody has the farmer.
Well, you know what happened with that contract too. As soon as they got the contract cancelled. The contract that we had. And so the idea is to leave here the Essequibo coast with some ideas. You know what happened. We're going to hear from GRDB and the Miller about prices. Why they have to pay. Let's hear from them because what? But your suggestion about having this discussion before the crop is better because then you can look at what the market is, the one market and where they're exporting and what they're getting. And so then the farmers have a fair idea whether they're getting a fair deal or not. That discussion should take place before the crop. Yeah. Nevertheless, let's hear a bit from them about, I want to hear too about the markets and projections and so on.
I did some research. And this month, United States of America sent us $700,000. I told him that we have been getting the problem. You can find it today, go and get it.
Yeah, but let me tell you, about a month and a half ago, I'm going through the Food and Agricultural Organization report, FAO. So they do this globally, show movement in prices. Almost every other cereal has moved upwards, like wheat, maize, rye, barley, and rice stayed constant. And let's check the FAO reports. So you can go online and check. That's Food and Agricultural Organization. That's where you look at the world market. The US market is more controlled. So you have quotas and all sorts of things going into the US market. But when you look at global markets, you should go to the FAO. I'm not making excuses, so I'd like to hear from the farmers. But that's some place where if you're doing research, check the FAO report, Food and Agricultural Organization.
One more point. It's not very actually a point, but I don't want the mirror to believe that it's trying to put back. What I want that the farmer and the mirror around the GID, government, and
no, that's fair. That's fair. What you're suggesting is very, very fair. That's what we should have. I agree with you, and we should be more engaged now through GRDB battery, and now the new dispensation is engagement, and the same thing in agriculture. We can't wait at the end to have the Provenance Festival. People need to be talking constantly, not just when you have the problem, but throughout the year and before the crop is harvested. I agree. What you're suggesting is very fair. Okay. Thank you. Maybe just let me hear a bit about the prices and what they have to say a bit.
As you rightly say, the prices for rice, grains, and raw rice remains the same. In Brazil, we are competing against Brazil. Brazil took in excess of 45,000 tons of rice to Europe. And we sell most of our products CIF. So we take it to Europe. Our problem is, because of the war, vessels from Ukraine used to come to Guyana and around the Caribbean and the US with wheat. And all those vessels today, there's no vessel. We are looking for a vessel for the past 2 weeks to start our shipment. We probably will find one next week to do our fourth shipment, and this is March. We normally start shipping beginning of March. The prices we are offering is very competitive. If you look at Suriname prices are around $3,300 a bag for pallet, and we go to the same market. We hope that this price will sustain. We must compliment the government. They have given us the war. That helped us, and also they have reduced the commission. And those are the factors. When we started to purchase this crop, it was $3,200 a bag. And because of the government intervention, we took the price up to $3,700 a bag, and presently we're doing. Plus, we give the retroactive for all those palliative purchases before the raise the price. Thank you very much. 37 is actually. I'm not.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So,
good afternoon, everyone.
What price you got?
Me?
No, this government here. What price you get? What price you get? 36, so you get 26. All right, yeah, go on.
I endorse what farmers saying about rice and paddy. Rice farmer, buy and go to rice field. Right? I don't have to. So, I think that rice. You understand? Let me talk about the example. There is a road which leads from Regina right up to Bagam, straight to Lake Mainstay, all the lakes that side, right? That goes from Bagam, GPL to Chanila. If you go out there, you go back to look after young.
That's the same road that they
The road. Don't you stop at that already? We built the water like that.
No, I already had this is not my first meeting. I've been here. Somebody already told me about the road.
Another piece, when you reach at the end of the road, when you bridge there, you tell them already about room. It's a shame and disgrace to this region. So the water pass there for what it makes the result. The coca covered Mongolo tree, striking bush, a white tree. This today we turn right and down.
What's the problem?
Bad. And the coca when they open the door, why will the door make out to? The tight rope, like a trap. There's no reason. And they put it up, they tell you, or they tell you, them. Like I get asked me, they're just grass and put on and do like that. You get the space that is like one minute.
There's no more going on here.
Yes.
And you're in charge. You're going to go and check this focal and stuff if it's long and short or correct.
And
it's the idea, right?
We tell them we go to and hey, I just told you. You want the road like right?
Yeah.
And the road of 5, 6 homes, you do 1 mile. You know what for the river.
Alright. We got the idea what the road and the coke and have somebody.
This that man in the arm, like my son, can't play for
no, it was raised earlier. I got that down on my phone.
It's not enough for my rights, but it goes to.
No, that's important. Yeah.
To the country.
Alright, then, just come on. I see you put up your hand there, or your yarning. Oh, okay, alright. Can you hear me?
Very good afternoon, members of the table. First of all, VP, I must commend you. I was there since the board meeting and I was admiring your proactive approach and your problem-solving skills. And that is one thing that I must say that you're good at and you're a man of your word. In relation to rice farmers, as it relates to the drilling and irrigation aspect, I am not standing on behalf of myself, I am representing actually my father and some of his colleagues. I don't know if it's a national issue or if it's in this region only, I can't say. But I believe you understand the cost of living, it excels to the highest. Earlier you mentioned flour and all of those things go up. And the price that they're being paid to maintain these canals is very poor. $45 per rod. For those of us who don't know, a rod is 12 feet. So one of those guys have to clean 1,000 acres of, 1,000 feet of trench, both sides, to get 45,000, which is way below the minimum wage we're looking at in this region. And I find it hard for my dad and most of his friends who depend solely on that income to survive, especially in this cost of living. So I'm asking through your good office if there is something you can go about it to give them, I won't propose anything.
This issue was raised with me some time ago, and so we're definitely looking at it. I had a meeting with the command from Region 2 when we were planning for this visit. And so it's not just here, it's on a part of the country. So we'd have to look at it to see that there will be some adjustment. It's been quite a while since the rates are adjusted, and especially for those workers we have under the community program. So we definitely have to look at it. When I get back, I'll talk to the Minister of Finance about this.
Thank you very much.
Farmers have their fee. Listening to today's meeting, I know the most important thing is only constant, the price. Now, I am not here to tell any miller that should pay X amount of money. That would be unfair. They are business people and they are free to pay whatever they want. I know that might be some reason, but that is the truth. There is no law in this country saying they should pay X amount of price. What I am saying, that realizing the price is about average 45, 46, 47. Now that Guyana has buy a lot of money. If we can take some of that high money, realizing we can touch it yet, and Essequibo supposed to produce about $1 million average, $1,000 a bag for farmers is only $1 billion. Right? That will help with this crop. It will help, or maybe we can give more than you. Right? So that will help. And the fertilizer issue, I just want to make a little point. That if government brings fertilizer like in 2013-14, there was a similar crisis, and the GRD government intervened, and the price had to go down by the businessman. There is a little issue on that when also brought the price and went and buy and from the business people and you'll left the fertilizer.
All right. So let's go through a couple of issues you raised. The problem now is getting the supply of fertilizer.
Yes.
So we could buy the fertilizer, bring it in, but the supply and the price not going to change much different because it has gone up globally. So that's one. So, but we keep that option open. Secondly, I wasn't sure about your mathematics just now when you said $1 billion. It's something like that. Glenn said, we got all this oil money now, let's stop working. Nobody ain't gonna work anymore. And it's the most asinine thing to say that we shouldn't work anymore. We're far from stop working. The countries that have more oil than us, they're still working. Saudi Arabia and everywhere else in the world, Qatar, they're still working. So let me tell you a bit about, you said $1 billion Ghana dollars. How did you come to that? No, like you just said 1,000 by something.
Yeah.
What is it? Calculate it for me first again because I'm interested. I'm here to see what we can help. So do back the calculation for me.
We produce average of $1 million by right? $1 million by 1,000. Is it $1 million?
Yeah. So you produce $1 million by okay.
Yes.
And Jerry, you can verify that it's $1 million by Paris.
Yes. It's something more.
Okay.
Something more. I know that we have a raise in our price. It's 2%.
$1 million by Paris? No tons you're talking about. We are producing 700,000 tons of rice. Multiply 700,000 tons of paddy. This was a year back. 700,000 by how many bags per ton? 15. Then you got to multiply that by 15.
How much are what? Whatever it is.
How many?
$1 million equivalent to 66,000 tons.
Here in Essequibo. Okay, alright. Okay.
Yes,
so 1 million bags here.
Whatever it is, right? Now that our price is up and we are getting 2%, if it is up, it used to be 56 dollars, it's something like
yes. But did you read the formula that we put in to access the money from the oil fund? It's not too technical. The one up to had was technical. This one is simple. It says it defines how much. If X amount of money comes into the fund, this is how much you look at. So the idea, I'm not. If we're dealing with cost of living impact, that's what I wanted to look at. It's not just the farmers, the rice farmers. We have to look at everybody across the board. But you made a suggestion, so I don't want to throw out the suggestion because I must keep an open mind here so we can explore all we can do to see how we can support people on the ground. Now, to think that we can do this only for Essequibo Coast and not do it for other parts of the country is we're going to get our heads cut off.
Across the board.
Across the board is much more than $1 billion, a lot of money. So and then ACNU will say we're giving only the rice farmers because they're PPP supporters. Next thing we got to contend with that in Parliament. We're not worried about that because we support the productive sectors. We're now subsidizing electricity in Region 10, which is not happening elsewhere. So we're not worried about that. But what I'll do, I'll take down the ideas. So we'll discuss it further.
That is the short term. Now this will be an ongoing problem here. For the long term, let's say whatever we are producing on the Essequibo Coast, if we can make a facility, I hope no one will break it with me, but if we can make a facility, be government farmer, and run it in an accountable, transparent way, that we can take out about quarter or $1 money from the system. We don't even need a milk now, a dry and storage facility. We hope
I've had a chance to look at this. I recall growing up, and when government was involved, they had a mill in our road, the dam. At 3 in the morning, they used to bring the rice in a bag from GRDB, take it to the mill at the back, rebag it, and sell it at a higher price back to GRDB. When government is involved in these things, you have a ton of corruption and all that sort of stuff. So I don't have a problem because we said in our manifesto to support, to explore a price support system. But it means that the farmers would have to agree that when the price is good, they also have to contribute to that. So that when the price is bad, that they can get access to this support facility. You tell me where we'll get people to comply with that in this region. When the price is good, they will give us a percentage of it. If you can work on this initiative, I'll be happy to pursue it. If the people in the region can do this on their own, the farmers, the government will be happy to support. So let's don't talk about things that are non-starters. It sounds good, you can make a great speech, but when it's time to implement it, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible for the storage and stuff. So I'm open-minded to everything that you're saying, but you advance it. Why don't you bring together a group of farmers who are prepared to look at this initiative to work with us on? Who are prepared to do that?
Definitely we take an interest in you. Right. I'm sure we'll be doing the effort. The last thing, Vicky, I want to ask you, because I asked every farmer this question, and none will answer. So maybe you can help us. If there is any other system in Guyana where you produce and some others pay you the price. What I mean by that, if someone is selling greens, they fix the price. If they sell fish, they fix the price. If they have a high care, they fix the price. So I asked them, rice is the only thing I know now that you produce, you have to from some others fix the price for you.
Alright, so let me ask you a question. So that's fine. So the people, the man who sells his fish, he fixes the price. The guy who sells the green fixes the price. So what's preventing you as the farmers from fixing your price and taking it to the miller? But the people there, remember when they sell the fish, somebody can say the price too high and walk away. What happens then? Right? So the man who buying the fish got an option, or the greens got an option to either accept your price and also, or to reject it. So when you ask that question, you're not looking at it from the other perspective. What if the other man, there's nothing stopping you from saying, I would not sell my paddy below $4,000, right? A bag. Right? I will not sell my paddy. I will not sell.
That is why I'm saying.
So that is what I'm saying. You can do that. No. Nothing is preventing you from doing it, but will you get a market for it? So it sounds all theoretical. I know people like to gap about these ideas. And you sound like a good gap man with some good ideas too. But when we go to the practical level, you think about it the other side. What if the man who buying the fish and the green say, you want to buy the fish at the price? You answer me that. Well, let me come back to it. You see? Right. But there's nothing preventing that now. You can set your price, but you got to enter the market.
My idea is we have a competition maybe with us. Because we know that I'm talking about a farmer's government. I understand. That's very well by farmer because someone 100% of government. I know that. But we try to run it like banks, media, hire people, management, accountants, so it can be done in a transparent way. How does that? Everybody, thank you so much.
Yeah, okay then, no problem. So there are some ideas that you have. Some you can work on yourself. Some are like, we can, with people, it's up to people. But there are two good ideas there that I saw that we could possibly engage with. All right, okay, that's a good idea. All right. Yes.
I have one problem. Myself and many other farmers from State Farm. After the in the harvest, we could develop the
So let me I can't hear you. That you will get to harvest the rice?
The paddy is rice in the field.
Okay. All right, the last crop.
Yes. So half of them inside the rice field, and myself and a couple other farmers. And the carry unit can verify that the rice that inside the field. So they say not taking a town and we need a bank of
So GRDU entered there?
Yes.
So are you aware? What is sent up to who? And for what? What's going on? Which area is this?
State Farm.
State Farm?
Yes.
So who went to verify this? So what did you promise? You promised something to people?
What happened is that Mr. Shafi would have had harvest the last crop, and we would have supplied the information and it's from the pipeline.
It's in the pipeline now. What is at the end of this pipeline? So when you put something in the pipeline, what is it? How does it end? Do we get some help through GRDP? What happens? But if you put things in the pipeline and they don't come out the other end, we get a heat at the government level. So what happens, Badri, when something like that comes in the pipeline? What is the policy of GRDP? No, but who funds this? GRDP? Oh, so this is under the flood project, So then that's for government to do. Well then, let's get it done quickly. All right, so you're going to get the help, okay? All right. And make sure that you back in.
Any other farmer? Does we have another meeting shortly?
Yeah, and then I have 4 meetings tomorrow, 2 in the community, so in case there are other community meetings, we'll still be meeting there. And we want to really get off this employment scheme and the small business. And we're looking for some space now to, as I said before, for people to build these call centers so that more young people can be appointed, and not just young people, others can find jobs. I'm really pleased this morning that so many young people are part of the GOLD program. Many of you, if you want to do that, there is a program where for 3 months you can study and then you can participate in one of these programs. Even if you're older, it doesn't matter. We want more people to take advantage of these scholarship programs. Yeah, you wanted to say something there.
Lord, I believe that for the parents, we don't want to women. And Lord, I'm very bad for work out. That can help me make it that. And the family that makes it, children will spread up who have to report this.
Alright. Yes, that one on the road.
And that's why you can help to make it.
Alright. Okay. We have not decided on all the roads. Remember I told you that we have set aside money in this year's budget. Quite a bit of money that the comrade was asking about. So we have some money here, so we have not settled on all the roads. So I hope that some of these roads that are the worst ones in the area, that we go to those first, where people don't have major access. That we fix those first before we go on to the like paving a street that is already with double bituminous surface. We're now going back to put asphaltic concrete on it, and other people don't have any street. No, don't worry with that public works thing that they did. They unilaterally took some of the streets. The president does not clear that. You know what happened here. Public works can't just come out here and walk around and develop pet projects. I don't understand who is from public works. Yeah. Pet projects. That was not clear, so I don't know the advertisement that you all had. Well, the minister probably briefed you. So no, we don't need any explanation. The minister briefed you about what went on at the cabinet and about the approach to this issue. And people just walk around sometimes and they select a road without any regard to how many people are the beneficiaries, whether it's critical or not. And then we get stuck with these. They advertise, they use up all the money. So that's not going to happen this year. Okay then. Okay. Okay then, comrades, I have you had a chance to talk. Come to one of my other meetings, man. Come to another meeting. I want to see your faces there too, right there. Oh, personal? Well, all right. No. He did speak about the market in Brazil and the market that he exports to.
I get it cheated for them or get it in a company. You can compare the two.
You want me to go through the process that we spoke of that will be dealt with here. But can you talk about prices in the market so that his comrade is satisfied? I don't want him to say that I'm giving the miller a chance to dupe you. That is why I didn't want him to talk particularly. Next thing you go back and say, JAGDEO, let the miller tell us what price he getting and listen to what price we want. You can research. I told him where to research. He said he did some research, and I told him that the FAO, that is one market, then the Jamaican market, which is a higher price market but for a limited amount of rice. All of this information is available. GRDD should put this up on their website. So you don't have to go very far to get this information. But I don't want the miller to be talking and then next thing the people say, oh, he don't tell us nonsense here at JAGDEO's meeting. I don't want that to happen, right? So when you're meeting together, you debate it. And like what you suggested, this should happen before the crop is harvested. So you can easily say, that's not true. We have done our research. And this is the fact. And then you can challenge on the basis of fact, not a gap. A lot of our people gap a lot of times. You need to challenge on the basis of fact. So thank you very much, comrades. Thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to seeing you at some of the other engagements. And then we can continue the conversation. We'll try to follow up on these issues. The Minister of Agriculture is joining us tomorrow. So if there are other issues, you can still come to the meetings and raise them with him. Thank you very much.